This is Greg Rock, and we're lucky enough today to have Marc Kerremans with us, Research Director at Gartner. And we're going to be providing an overview for our members of the new Business Transformation and Process Management Summit that's going to be taking place in London in March. BPM Institute has been a participant in this event for many years. We always find it as a great way to connect with our members throughout Europe and EMEA. There's been a lot of changes and new things added to the event this year, including Marc's participation as the chairperson over the event. And so we're thrilled, Marc, to have you here and to talk to our members about some of the changes that have happened at the event. I know that there's some new tracks that have been added and even some role-based recommendations for different types of attendees and different types of practitioners at the events, including the Chief Digital Officer. And so we're excited to hear about all those things. Before we get underway, I just wanted to make a quick mention that there is a special discount offer for BPM Institute members that want to attend the summit. They can save £300 off of the standard rate, and you'll see a special code down on the bottom left-hand corner that you can use during the registration process. And with that, I'd like to turn things over to you, Marc.
Thank you, Greg. Welcome all, and thank you, Greg, and the BPM Institute to have this opportunity to introduce this year's summit. Because this year's summit is kind of, well, you've probably seen or noticed it. It has been changed from the title, and also the content has drastically changed. So it's no longer the BPM Summit as we used to have it for 10 years right now, but it's becoming the Business Transformation and Process Management Summit. Now, as you can see over here, we were already moving a little bit into that theme. So in 2013, it was already about, okay, getting beyond just efficiency changes or efficiency improvements. It's really like in 2014 when you had the digital business team coming up, how can we embrace, adapt, and reinvent processes? And latest year, or 2015, we even introduced a new term, which was big change. But, well, big change didn't capture everything what should be captured within big change. So this year, we really shifted the content, and this is what I'm trying to introduce in the remainder of this presentation. So we're really introducing today, or in this summit, introducing transformation. So it's going beyond processes, it's going beyond even business operations, and I will come back to that, and looking at business transformation. Now, business transformation has, well, many connotations today. So because we know, and this is not a new statistic, that over 70% of all business transformation initiatives kind of fail. So why is this still going on? And can we do something about this? And in thinking about that, we kind of rearranged, okay, where should we start and how should we build upon so that we can turn this 70% failure rate of business transformation initiatives in a kind of, well, let's say 70% success rate. So I think, and not I, but also my colleagues and the research in Gartner is also supporting this, that we should really take the basics, the fundamentals of process management, and really extend them in larger initiatives. And this is exactly what we are going to do, because you will, and I will come back to that later on in this presentation, that we are not longer going to cover a basic track in BPM, an intermediate track, an advanced track. No, we're going to drastically change it. We have now, well, we kept 3 tracks. Well, and the first track is all you have to know about process management, because this is still fundamentally. Then looking a little bit more into kind of taking a step back and where do processes fit in a larger environment. And then finally, how does this really connect to what what we have introduced here as the theme or business transformation. So that's really a radical, I would say, transformation of our own summit after 10 years of having the traditional BPM summit.
Right. Well, Marc, you guys have built up quite a following of attendees and practitioners that come to the event, and For those folks that are concerned about the title change, what can you tell them about the coverage that we're going to continue to have on BPM and the role that BPM is going to play in transformation?
Very good question, Greg. Well, we are not, and I repeat, we are not going to depart from business process management or BPM. Not at all. Because I already told that many business transformation initiatives, they require changes in business operations. And we consider business operations as kind of the aggregation of several business processes in order to deliver products, services, information, or whatever business entity. So we still can learn how to manage and improve these processes. And this is very valuable. So therefore, we still have the fundamentals and especially new insights around business process management. So we have in the first track all sessions covering processes in EA or enterprise architecture, change management, how to choose, for example, process technology, and especially on the execution side, and some of the new things in how can we connect to customer interactions and, for example, leverage digital business moments. So that's all going to stay. So I'm happy to say, well, don't turn away from the Business Transformation and Process Management Summit because we're not going to do BPM. No, we're still doing BPM because it still is fundamental. And you will hear, for example, from some of the keynote speakers that well, together I think they must have some 40, 50 years of big business transformation experience, and they all agree on two things. It has to do with business architecture and process management. It should be process-driven.
Right. Well, I remember, Mark, from last year's summit, both John Dixon and Janelle Hill were helping folks to understand that, making sure that their BPM skills are up to date is almost becoming a prerequisite to being successful on these transformation projects or becoming more of a digital business. And so as we head into this year's summit, what do you see as the big challenges for business process leaders and the solution architects going into 2016 now?
Well, that's exactly what we have seen in the past, that we predominantly have been looking at processes, business processes in isolation, right? If we look back at, and we do this continually, this kind of IT score, what we call IT score, which is a survey which is always running and continually running, and which is investigating in what level of maturity people or organizations are today regarding BPM. Now, needless to say that most of the organizations still in level 2. Why? And this is one of the big reasons. Most people are looking at business processes in isolation. Now, we know that, and especially because of the ever-increasing change, and that we have to prepare and adapt continually, well, this isolated view of processes will not deliver in coping with these challenging requirements. So if we want to reinvent business operations leading to sustainable changes in business outcomes, so then we should really look at broader environment, and we will need a complete new mindset around business processes. So what is this notion of business operations? How can we have different perspectives on these business operations? And how can we build these new capabilities, skills, behaviors, so that we have a broader context about business process management, right? So business operations, in fact, and maybe to give you some insight or what we are delivering as content, they identify business content, right? Items, data, information, deliverables, and business resources, assets, knowledge, capabilities, and they consider that as same class citizens as business processes. So you should really look into the aggregation of all these things. So this is really taking a step back and looking where do our processes sitting, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look then in track 2, sessions will be around improvisational processes, case management, because this is a separate unit of work perspective on business operations. Customer journeys, very important. The customer interaction is a very important theme today. And So it's becoming very important how you align these internal business operations with external business interactions, because there are many internal and external interdependencies, and so we provide these external market forces.
All right, excellent, Marc. Thank you. At risk of getting ahead of myself here, will you guys also be addressing Internet of Things and smart devices during the summit?
Well, we have kind of a different view on these things, and especially from a business process perspective and business transformation perspective. So we think that the introduction and availability of IoT, smart devices, even digital business itself, brings along new capabilities to the organization or within a program or a project. Now, however, with all these capabilities, it's not the amount and the level of the capabilities that will enforce or improve your business outcomes, right? It's how you use these capabilities or activate these capabilities into your business operations. So there you go with the connection in how do we make a valuable use of these new capabilities, right? Because you can build capabilities or new technology from here to, for example, New York, but if you're not going to leverage this through activities within processes, within operations, leading to outcomes to satisfy customer requirements, well, they do not deliver value. And there you have the introduction and kind of linkage of IoT, smart devices, machine learning, and how this can be really become valuable. And again, business processes are very key because they combine these activities where you're going to leverage all these new capabilities. So that's kind of where we play on the team of IoT, smart devices, and all these new capabilities.
All right, great, Marc. Well, actually, I'll let you continue on and give our folks an overview. It sounds like you've put a lot of effort into new tracks and new content at the event. So I'll let you move on here and cover some of the new things that will be happening for this year's summit.
Okay, so here, I've kind of structured this in two parts. So first, a general overview, fast facts, for example, and as always, we expect to have, for example, over 300 attendees. And as a chair this year, I can say that we probably are reaching already this target at this moment. So 5 weeks out of the summit itself. So I think this kind of a preliminary success already. So we will have guest keynotes, as I told you, Walter Koch, who is a global head of transformation at ING, and who has been transformation lead for Vodafone, BT. So lots of experience comes us and tell about his experiences through his journeys through business transformation. Another very important keynote, I think, is Mike Stone, and I will address this a little bit later, who is not only CIO, but Chief Digital Officer of the Ministry of Defense in the UK. So why? Because he has been involved in new capabilities, and if you ask somebody about capabilities, who's better positioned than somebody in an army environment, let's say, or a military environment, because they always talk about capabilities that you should have ready to deploy in certain actions. So this is from the external side. I can also say and that we have some interesting we have case studies, of course, which are interesting. For example, Kate Davies coming to talk from British American Tobacco. Deutsche Bahn about its invention center, where they introduce process management concepts in all new digitalization efforts, and not only in the railways, but they also do transportation. They have packaging or package departments and so on. And finally, also from the EMI group, which has done a lot of digitalization in producing from milk cheese and kind of looking after the milk lake, let's say, that they have to transform into cheese. So that's kind of the people that will be delivering some of their experiences and sharing their experiences. But beyond that, we have also, well, something new which is called the Mastermind Panel with people that have been, well, out there really doing also a lot of transformation. Erik Sluis, for example, who is coming from Achmea, who used to be global COO and CIO, and really putting Achmea 2020 on the map. Corey Vu, from a technological perspective, board advisor and previously CTO at UBS. And I count with all in just mentioning that also one of our former competitors, Derek Myers, who used to be, well, I think research director at Forrester, and also has some very interesting topics or very interesting experiences to address. So that's I think the person that will be there, and I really want to encourage you to, if you come, to really network as much as possible with these people, because they have lots of experience in taking a process-based approach into business transformation. Now, I'm not going to go to all these slides, but I just added them because I know that you will get this presentation. So these are kind of the target roles, which didn't change. For example, business process improvement leaders, the business and IT leaders, and which is new is kind of, okay, we are addressing also business transformation leaders. And if I look at people that are already enrolled at the summit, then there are a lot of people that have these role or have these kind of responsibility within their organization. Now, finally, I want to address, and Greg already mentioned this, that we have some virtual tracks, right? We have a virtual track for the Chief Digital Officer, because we know that, well, they are engaged in all digitalization within organizations. This is a new emerging role, and there are already some people doing or acting as a Chief Digital Officer. I already mentioned that that Mike Stone from the military or from the Ministry of Defense in the UK is coming to do the closing keynote. But we have, well, kind of reorganized some of the sessions so that they build a kind of a program for the Chief Digital Officer, right? We made another one which is customer excellence, around customer excellence, and for this reason we especially invited some of my colleagues from the customer excellence team, analysts from this team, who come and talk about especially how you connect customer journeys, right? Customer journeys to internal business operations, which is, I think, very crucial to having business transformation. And then finally, this is around kind of a virtual track, right? Around the banking and financial services. Why today banking and financial services? Well, I think first reason that, well, digital business redefines kind of the economic playing field for financial institutions as things, right? Joint people and businesses in this connected world. So we think there is something going on which is very disruptive in this industry. We therefore also invited some of our industry analysts who come and talk about not only these new, how you connect or look at these things as customers, but also about a very important aspect today. And my financial industry colleagues, they really get overwhelmed by all these questions today. Why? Because you have these blockchains, right? So what is blockchain? How is this disruptive? And how will this really have an impact on processes and all things related to other industries? Very important. We have even a new standard coming up in Europe, which is PSD2, right? This can really have a huge impact on many organizations as intermediaries in the financial services market, also for the banking. So I think, well, we have a very hot topic there, and that's why we also have this kind of special virtual track around